All right, everybody, it's your boy Genius out here at the range today with the Shadow System DR920. No, I have not done a ton of reviews over the years on Shadow Systems. I'll talk a little bit about why that is here in just a second, but before we start the video, as always, I want to extend the invitation to know Jesus Christ as your Savior. If you do not know that you were born a sinner, Christ came to earth, took on flesh, was spit on, abused, taken to a cross, crucified, shed his perfect sin free blood that you might have that as a covering, a payment. He paid the debt of your sin. If you don't understand that, if you don't know what that means, if that doesn't make sense to you, please reach out to me in the comment section. Also, gsquaredtactical@gmail.com. I would love to have a conversation with you about it and share some scripture with you and the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Today is the day of salvation. So make sure you take care of that today and procrastinate no longer about it. So this is my Shadow System DR920 Elite, and I'm going to call this a collection gun because everyone said they wanted to see, they wanted me to do a video on my gun collection, which would be a very long, boring video in my opinion. So I've started, as you have noticed lately, to pull some of them out. I started with mostly my 1911s and just kind of bring them back out to the range and showcase them one at a time. Well, this is one of those that I have decided to keep. And as I have said many times before, if I've kept a gun, because I've had about 500 over the years, currently probably have about 110 or 15 or something. So I got rid of the other ones for a reason, okay? It may not have been a reason, a bad reason, but for a reason. And the ones that I've kept, I have kept for a reason. Now, I shot this a little bit yesterday because I put this SRO on here. I had a different optic on here before, and I was zeroing the optic. And I told one of my buddies at the one of the gun stores that he could check me for a fever later, but if the first Glock I ever shot was this one, I would be more of a Glock fan, even though I have the Glock shirt on today. I'm not a Glock fanboy. Most people know that, okay? And I'll tell you a little bit about why that is. Okay, of course, this is a, Glock clone, even though, it is way better, in my opinion, than a Glock 17. But they clone a lot of Glock offerings, the 43, 43X. They have the CR920. So they have a lot of different variations of the Shadow system, but they're so different. The average person would not look at it and say, "Yep, that's a Glock clone." They change, and as a lot of people do, and they do things to these guns that Glock probably should have done themselves quite a few years ago. Okay, now why did I get rid of my CR920 and some of my other compact variants of the Shadow system? Well, it's because they take a lot of weight out of the slide. They really cut them down on the inside. They put lightning cuts in them, and they do that intentionally to make it lighter, more balanced, and easier to carry, I'm sure. And they are, in a lot of cases, definitely more comfortable to carry. But out at the range, that makes them more snappy. It makes you less able to stay on target because you have that muzzle rise and that felt recoil. And again, that is because it has been lightened up. Now, that's okay for some people, and you might say, well, it's a carry gun, so do you not want it to be comfortable if you're carrying it all day? Yes, of course I do. But I also want to be effective with it, and also if I take it to the range a lot, I want to enjoy shooting the gun, okay? This is very versatile in that it's very carryable, nightstand and truck gun. It is a full-size gun. Like I said, this is modeled basically after the Glock 17. It takes 17-round P-mags, which means that you can cram your 21-round P-mag in there and carry it around like that, which is pretty awesome and doesn't add a ton of length to it. And so I got rid of those other ones for that reason. Well, when I bought this one, MSRP coming in somewhere around about 900, around $1,000 basically. I did not pay that for this. The thing about these guns, for whatever reason, especially in my area, gun stores will frequently put them on sale for outstanding, like almost unbelievable prices sometimes. And so I picked this thing up, obviously without the optic, for about $700 out the door, which is a steal. Okay, so if you start down here at the bottom, you have this removable flared mag well, which you know that I'm a huge fan of flared mag wells. If most of the guns that I carry have some type of flared mag well, it really helps keep my grip high and tight. I don't care anything about it helping and aiding of loading the magazines. It just helps me to keep my grip high and tight on the gun. So it has the flared mag well. Of course, it has 3 interchangeable back straps. The stippling on the gun and the angle way better in the grip than is the Glock, any Glock, but the Glock 17 that it is cloned after. Very much so, better undercut at the back of the trigger, and the little ledge and the meat taken out of the trigger up in the center towards the front, serrated on the front of the trigger, squared off trigger guard with plenty of real estate in there to get your finger in and out, even if you're wearing gloves. And like I said, just the texturing on the grip, in my opinion, is better. Not that the Glock texturing is bad. I'm not saying that. I just like this better, okay? I like the way it looks better, and it does not snag on your clothes, and you have a very sure purchase on it. Even if you put the extended beaver tail back strap on the Glock, you still do not have as defined of a beaver tail here, so it's not nearly as deep. Okay, you really are able to get up in there. Maybe not like on a CZ 75 or anything like that that's got a huge extended, very skinny beaver tail, but you are way better, get a way better and higher grip on this one than you do on the Glock, okay? And so it just feels phenomenal, phenomenal. It's one of these guns you pick up and like, man, why haven't I used this in a while? Just a phenomenal feel in the hand. And you know that I don't talk very much about that. You do have these index points up at the front for your off hand or support hand, with a little ledge at the bottom to keep your thumb from coming off of there, but also um, gives you a place to rest your support thumb and really, really bear down on it. And it's textured just like it is on the grip down here. And let's see, the mag well. I'm sorry, the mag release is it's not flush, it's not tactile. You mostly, if you're out here a lot and you're practicing and stuff, you mostly can manipulate it without adjusting your grip. But sometimes you do have to adjust your grip a little bit. I'm a little bit of a snob about that, if you will. It does have Ameriglow sights on it, serrated, blacked out on the front, green tritium field on the front, and it does have a fluted barrel and a stainless steel guide rod. It does have a single slot accessory rail up front. If I did not mention, it is textured or serrated. I guess that would be texturing on the front of the trigger guard. And 217 round P mags that it came with a very nice, very, very nice cloth carrying case instead of old hard case that gets through in the closet. It does have the lightning cuts on the side of the slide, and also the serrations, very well done all the way across the top as well. Just taking the meat out of the gun, just way better. Even on the Gen 5 with the serrations on the front, just, man, you really are able to bear down on this thing and really manipulate that slide. And I like the way that it kind of has a ledge at the bottom before it comes down into the frame, which would, kind of keep dirt or any kind of oils or water or whatever from running off the slide down inside of your frame. Probably not a huge deal for most people, but just, something that some thought was put into. Nice polished feed ramp, fluted barrel, if I did not already mention that. It is optic cut, and it does have little spacers, so you don't have to have a plate. It will flush mount. But I'm not a huge fan. I would rather have lugs up in the front. You got this little plastic spacer back here that kind of mashes it forward, if you will. And now listen, with that being said, I've never had an issue with any of the optics I've had mounted on here getting loose or losing zero or trying to shift or come off or anything like that. I just prefer, you know, some studs up front. Say like on maybe the Echelon, or something like that, that has the little studs at the front to recess into the bottom of the optic. I just feel like it's a more secure setup. I know they say that this is rock solid on here. I, again, it has never caused me a problem, but I just prefer a different type of optics mounting system, if you will. But it is optic ready, and it is a flush mount. Okay, the trigger. So I'll try this. I typically don't do this type of thing, but the center blade safety, of course, and you have a little bit of take up. You know, probably about like a Glock. A tiny little bit of a rolling brake. I wouldn't say there was a defined wall necessarily. Very, very short reset, okay? I'm not going to say necessarily canic short, but it's a very short reset. And then breaks right there when it resets, okay? So let's do that again. So you can really feel it pushing back on your finger. Like, I mean, it's really tactile in that sense. Audible, it's not the most audible reset ever, but once it does reset, it breaks right there. So let's do the initial pull again. So you have the take up, there's your wall, and it does roll through that just a little bit. So you don't hit a defined wall and then break right there at the wall, okay? It does roll through the break. But with that said, it's a good trigger. I like it better than I do the Glock trigger, but I've never been a huge fan of the Glock trigger in general. So what made you like this one over the other ones and them cutting out so much off of it and causing it to be snappy? Well, this one weighs about 23 ounces, and the Glock 17 is about 22 and some change. So it's very similar, if not almost identical in weight to the Glock. So with it feeling way better in the hand, having the flared mag well, the better texturing, the better undercut at the trigger guard, and just me overall feeling as though I have a better grip on the gun, and these index points up here when I'm shooting the gun, it shoots better for me than a Glock 17, and I'm able to mitigate the recoil better than I am with a Glock 17. So that's why I've chosen to hold on to it, because I am very effective with this gun. I can shoot very accurately and most of the time very fast. It has been a little while since I have shot the gun out at the range, but what I'm going to do is try to maybe put 4 or 5 magazines through it, kind of just, you know, cut the camera, do that as I normally do, come back and wrap up the video and talk a little bit more about the features, and if you were to pay the full MSRP, would it be worth it over the Glock 17? Well, as you can see, the 21 round PMAG is not very John Wickable, but there you have it, folks. That is 100 rounds through my DR920. As you can see, the thing is a doggone tack driver. If you're just sitting there, you know, focusing and shooting, but also alternating between the targets, not half bad. Definitely a formidable carry gun. Just, you know, any gun, like I said, is very versatile. So why, or is it, should I say, worth the extra money? Let's say you didn't get a deal for 700, which I promise you can. If you keep your eyes out, you can get this somewhere between $700 and $800. Is it worth that? Well, okay, so night sights, let's just say if you got the Ameriglows, they usually run somewhere around maybe 70 bucks with tax. You got your fluted barrel, that's maybe another, I don't know, what did that run? About another 75, say 150 bucks. And then you have your flared mag well, it is plastic, so it's probably coming around 25 bucks. You got $175. You know, what else do we have here? I don't know. What I'm saying is that the add-ons that you have here that you do not get stock with a Glock. So if you're able to pick this up for $800, totally worth it. The upgrades are totally worth it, especially if you're even able to get it like I were at $700. Totally worth spending the extra $100 or so to get this. The upgrades that are on it are totally, in my opinion, worth the extra expense, because again, if you were to take all these things and put it over on your Glock, and that's if you went cheap on the parts, okay? If you were to put all of these things on your Glock pistol, you're probably going to be somewhere approaching the $1,000 mark. So do I like the gun? Do I think it's worth buying? Is it reliable? Absolutely. Just an absolute tack driver. I love the DR920 Elite. Now again, all shadow system pistols that I've had have been reliable for me, but I wasn't a huge fan of them. I do, however, like their full size offerings. So go out and pick you one up. Highly recommended by Mr. Genius at G Squared Tactical. Thanks so much for watching. Go over, check us out. As always, on Patreon, you can do $5 or $10 a month. I promise at some point I will do better over there on Patreon. Maybe some blooper reels or something like that. Also, gsquaredtactical.com. Pick up some shirts, hats, cups, coasters, keychains. I mean, whatever you want. Go over there, pick you something out, buy it. We'll get it shipped out to you. Also, you can hit on the 3 lines in the corner, donate to it directly through that. Every bit of it will go back into the channel. Support those that support us. Crate Tactical that sent us these targets, the Sweet Dueling Tree and the Texas Star over there, reduced size silhouette. You can use my discount code G Squared. That's it, just G Squared to save 10% at checkout. Also Core Essentials, that's KOR Essentials. I'm sorry, KORE Essentials. My discount code for them is G Squared 10. If you already know the brand, you already know the product, and you want to pick you up something, you can use my discount code. Save yourself 10%. I'm still reviewing one of their belts, which I do intend to do a full review on the table eventually. As always, if you can't support me monetarily, hit the thumbs up, be sure to subscribe, and to God only be the glory.